Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Dr. P. Welcome back for another video. Now, in this one, we're talking a little bit more about the Visitor, his intentions, and what's going on here in Season X. Of course, if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like down below and subscribe if you're new. And also, check me out over on caffeine.tv for my live stream that goes on several times a week. I will be sure to link it in the description below. The footage you're seeing is actually from my live stream, and it's custom solos, meaning whoever won this game got a gift, and it's pretty fun. So if you want to be a part of that in the future, make sure to follow me over on Caffeine. So let's start with something very obvious. This is actually a photo that was tweeted by the official Fortnite Twitter account yesterday. In the image, we see the Visitor, and in his reflection of his face mask, you can see a brute, or one of the mechs that's been giving us so much trouble the past few weeks. It's since been nerfed, but more on that later. I've seen multiple sides coming at this image. One side saying, oh, it looks like he is creating the brute, and another saying, hey, it looks like he's taking apart the brute. I think he's building it. And let me tell you why. This whole mech situation is eerily similar to that of the Infinity Blade. If you remember, back in Season 7, the Infinity Blade was an item that was added to the game for only a handful of days before it was removed from the game entirely and vaulted because of how many people were complaining about how overpowered it was. Epic almost certainly did not want it to have to come to vaulting the blade because it seemed to play a pretty pivotal part in the storyline for Season 7. Even after it got vaulted, there was still several signs about the Infinity Blade in the story. I feel like we're almost in the same kind of situation here with the Brute. Epic does not want to vault them because they must be integral to the storyline of Season X, as evidenced by the picture they tweeted of the Visitor with the Brute reflection in his mask. Now, I don't know any of this for a fact, but I do think it makes a ton of sense. A lot of people were complaining about the mech so hard, so they hit it with a substantial nerf. It is not out of the game, yet it is unbelievably weaker in comparison to what it once was. Since the nerf, I haven't seen a ton of people. Now, I have seen some, but not nearly as many people complaining about the mech, which is obviously a good thing, and I'm sure Epic wants to keep it in play, one, because they worked hard on developing it, but two, because it must be important. The logic sounds good and airtight, and it might be, but the thing that really kind of throws me off is looking back to the Infinity Blade and saying, they did end up vaulting that. So now I guess the question should be asked, at its peak, what was more overpowered, the mechs or the Infinity Blade? I'd say the mechs were probably more overpowered. The Visitor has always been such a mysterious character in the game for 6 or 7 seasons, and now it looks like we're focusing more and more on him. It looks as though he is creating the Brute, although he could be disassembling it too, more on that later. The Visitor is obviously capable of using some kind of weird technology, future technology, as evidenced by his outfit, the rocket from Season 4, and so much more. So it's not too strange to think that he could have been the mastermind behind putting together the Brutes. Maybe that's where the Visitor has been this whole time. We know that he was supposed to be inside the meteor, but his escape pod is empty, meaning he is out there somewhere. What if he has literally just been building Brutes constantly so far through Season X? One more thing about the picture you're seeing on screen right now, it was tweeted yesterday and there was no caption. Usually, when there's some kind of a teaser or hint or stuff that's dropped like this, Epic Games gives you a little caption or a little one-sentence one-liner to kind of help you gauge what's going on. But this was tweeted literally with zero context out of the blue randomly, and it makes me wonder if maybe throughout the course of the season, we could continue to get more and more of those. Here's a bold prediction for Season X. I believe that by the time the season is over, we will finally know what the Visitor's true intentions for everything he's ever done actually are. Remember, he showed up first in Season 4, then disappeared, and now he's back for just this season. Or is he? We don't know. Of all the possible storylines that have happened over the course of this game's life cycle, the Visitor is definitely, in my mind, the most intriguing, and I do think by the time the season's over, we'll know a lot more about him and specifically who he is, why he came here, how he got here, and what his plan ultimately is. Speaking of the Visitor's plan, I saw this comment on my previous video from Jacob, who says, "I think that the reason why the Visitor is doing this is because he wants to restore the map as it was originally in Season 4, because if he doesn't, and time starts to move forward again, the timeline could be messed up, because once the meteor hits Dusty and it becomes the divot, the location wouldn't be in the correct timeline because the trees aren't fully grown and all of the other locations would be in the present. That's why the Visitor wants to bring back the Season 4 locations so that nothing would happen with the timeline." It's definitely an interesting theory. So as we know, there are a lot of rumored POIs to come back. In fact, not rumored, confirmed POIs to be returning from previous seasons. Now, a lot of these places were actually around during the very early stages of Fortnite, including Tomato Town, Greasy Grove, Anarchy Acres, Flush Factory, and more. We know that the Rift Beacons are creating a Rift Zone with a huge dome over the area to bring it back to a past version of itself. We expect Moisty to be coming back very soon because of the Rift Beacon that's currently in the desert. We're only a few weeks into Season X, and we have a lot of weeks left and a lot of places still to come back. So what if by the end of the season, we're looking at a map with like 9 to 10 places that have returned, and ultimately, it would just be a blend of old and new, which is kind of what I said when the season first started. Now, we know the Rift Beacons are being developed by the Visitor, or at least we have a huge hunch, so it would be safe to assume, I think, that whatever is going on with the Rift Beacons and the past time travel and all of this stuff with the 0 point, I feel like it all revolves around the Visitor being the mastermind. So, what motivation would he have for wanting to bring back these locations? Maybe it's exactly what Jacob said, and he's trying to bring it back to an old version of the map to kind of wrap up the timeline. Let's face it, as of right now, we've got the Season X map with several old locations, several new ones, more old ones on the way, possibly even more new ones on the way. Like, it is a mess trying to decrypt and figure out what's been going on because there are so many different angles and timelines all merged into one right now. I'm gonna be really excited for the live event we're gonna get later this season. I'm really hoping the Visitor is gonna make a reappearance with his rocket. That would be my guess as of now. But anyway, speaking of the live event, in my last video, I asked you guys to leave some theories. I got this one from BTat, who says, "Theory, when the live event starts, all live events from pre-season 4 all the way to season 9 happen at once. Then the orb fully explodes and time is restored." Remember how I was just talking about the Visitor wrapping up the timeline? I don't think there would be any better way to wrap up a specific storyline or timeline or anything like that than by literally revisiting everything that's happened, explaining why it happened, and getting some concrete answers. Just imagine the live event this season is a compilation of all the events, starting with the meteor in Season 3, the rocket in Season 4, Kevin the Cube in Season 5, Kevin the Cube's explosion in Season 6, the Ice King in Season 7, the volcano in Season 8, and the robot fight from Season 9. I'm probably missing a few, but that's just off the top of my head. In the theory, BTat says after all the live events play, time would be restored. So I wonder what that could mean. At least my interpretation of what he said is after, this season is done, we'll get restored to a brand new map, which, we've been talking about getting a new map for some time. There was speculation Season X could be the time to implement that new map, but maybe starting in Season 11, which would make a lot of sense, having 10 full seasons on the current map, and then starting over a new chapter with a new one. I think that could be a possibility, and honestly, that would be a great way to get to the new map, to have everything explained from the current storyline and then just sort of reset us to another one. Guys, if you've got any theories, ideas, suggestions, concerns, or anything else, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. I would love to read them. I do in fact read all my comments, and I'll do my best to respond to as many as I can underneath this video. Again, if you're not following me over on caffeine.tv, you definitely should be. The chat is real time time, so I can actually respond to people and they will hear me respond to them within seconds of them putting a message in the chat, which is unbelievable, and there's no other streaming site out there that's like Caffeine in that way, so I highly recommend you do so. If you want to ask me a question or get added to my friends list or even get a gift, that's your definite best #1 option. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I appreciate your time, I really do. I'll keep my eyes peeled for any Fortnite news or information. If there's an update, I will let you know, and of course you can always tweet me or comment on my videos to let me know of anything pressing you find and you think you should share and send my way. I'll catch you in the next video, and until then, my friends, take it easy and peace out.